Hey everybody, welcome back to You Are Free TV. Hey everybody, welcome back to You Are Free TV. Sorry, we had a little delay there. It is Thursday, March 8th, VE Day here, March 8th, 2025, 80-year anniversary of what was known as Victory Over Europe Day, but now Trump is calling it Victory Over World War II Day. As Trump does with basically restructuring everything conceptually of what is going on with the change in geopolitics, geoeconomic politics. And so we're going to jump in here with the news after my disclaimer. Of course, we're going to be talking about the new Pope in this video. So I'll jump in with my disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is protected by the United States Constitution, protecting free speech, as well as the Sullivan Act and reporting. It is not intended to bully or harass anyone, never to incite violence, hatred, or lawlessness of any kind. It doesn't give legal, medical, or financial advice, and there are further disclaimers in the description below. Woo! So glad to have you back here on the channel as we jump in here on Thursday on this 80th anniversary of the victory over the tyranny of what was to be the one world government back in World War II. And so very interesting as all this is playing out with the new Pope being selected on this day, it being an American Pope for the first time ever in history. And this is, I guess we might call it like, behold, a dark horse, right? This is the running horse, the dark horse that is Robert Francis Prevost. And that's what we're going to talk about here very shortly. But I want to start by saying thank you so much to my supporters. Thanks so much for supporting the channel. Thank you to Yermi Yahoo for the donation. Thank you for just your prayers and everything as I'm still going through, doing support, post-op support, care for a friend, as well as dealing with those tick bites I was telling you about, which really did give me a kick in the butt. Just kind of was a tough slog there for a while. So I wanted to tell you a couple things that helped me, and I have nothing to do with either of these, but this is called Tick Immune Support by Zen Men. Tick Immune Support by Zen Men. And it did seem to be the thing that really helped the most. I think it's zenmenhealth.com, zenmenhealth.com. Okay, so I haven't looked deeply into them because I literally was just taking it because I needed help. But it helped. It helped. Okay. And because I know everybody's affected by weaponized tick bites, is always looking for ways to deal with Lyme, deal with everything it does with shooting in the spirochetes and all of the awful that comes with it. But the other great thing that I really got a lot from was frankincense oil. Okay. Just like, the Magi to Jesus, frankincense oil, okay, putting those directly on the bites really seemed to really jazz them up and give them a run for their money, and it helped enormously, frankincense oil. And then I would say the other thing is ivermectin. I'm still trying other things, and I'll let you know as I go along. And of course, C60 Evo, powering the mitochondria, C60 Evo, which of course we had the giveaway that happened a few days ago, and all the two winners are so happy. C60evo.com/YAFTV, the sponsor of this channel. Check it out, c60evo.com/YAFTV, and get 10% off. If you contribute to the channel, you already get 15% off. And if you want to contribute to the channel, then you will get that 15% off. And it powers your mitochondria. It cleans out all the garbage. It's working with my tick immune support and my frankincense and my ivermectin to get me healthy as I'm doing home care for my friend post-op. All right, so now, thanks for that 4-minute introduction. We have the Pope. The new Pope, he's the dark horse, okay? And I think it's only Steve Bannon who really called this in advance, reminding us of Robert Francis Prevost, who is an American cardinal who was only made a cardinal 18 months ago. Okay, he's only been a cardinal for a year and a half, but he has been doing the work of Francis for the entire 12 years plus that Francis has been in, to get in all of the liberal bishops, all of the globalist, supportive bishops, the communist bishops, basically also excommunicating bishops. Like he was very central in excommunicating the wonderful Bishop Joseph Strickland out of Tyler, Texas. Okay, a lot of people consider Strickland to be the Bishop of America, right? The Archbishop of America. And it was Prevost who was central in getting Strickland excommunicated. And he also was central in putting in McElroy. He was central in getting McElroy put in as the Archbishop in DC right now, who's now occupying that seat there in DC, okay, to basically deal with what is the massive fight back of the laity, of the Catholics of the United States of America, to basically go against the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops being a RICO operation. And there's actually a petition that you can sign below. Please do, I hope you will, a petition to basically ask the DOJ to do a RICO investigation on the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops for their human trafficking, child trafficking, Catholic Charities operation, the $2 billion they've been getting out of Biden, all that money being laundered, etc., plus all of the child trafficking. And the laity is moving towards a schism. And what we have here is, of course, Prevost being the dark horse, is that he was barely known by all of the people that he got into power. He was the one behind Francis, who was able to put in all of the bishops and then the archbishops and the cardinals that Francis wanted in, who were the most liberal and the most world government supportive, the UN Migration Pact supportive, all of it. That was Prevost out of Illinois, okay, by way of Peru, all right, for many, many, many years. And in Peru, what we're looking at is the situation of Venezuela, where we had massive amounts of Venezuelans fleeing to Peru. And we have Prevost, even on his social medias, coming out and saying, speaking out against Trump's deportation of MS-13 gang members to El Salvador. He's come out, spoken against Bukele for the CCOT prison, Supermax prison of gang members to rot in jail. He is literally he's a perfect Jesuit operative is Prevost. And now he's claimed the title of Pope Leo XIV. And what is so disgusting about that is that it is exactly the same playbook of whether it's the Zapatian Frankists, the Zionists, the Crowleyites, the Jesuits, all of them with the same playbook where they claim the title of the thing that they are the opposite of. Okay, and Leo XIV is the opposite of the 13th. The 13th was trying to actually claim back the church and do social campaigns to basically bring true doctrine of the church back. What this Leo XIV, this Prevost, Robert Francis Prevost, out of Illinois, out of Chicago, he's only 69. He's going to be around a long time, and born in 1955, and he is about Barack Obama's age. He is basically coming out of the same people, the Democrat machine out of Illinois, then going into Peru. And this has to do, again, as I said, with the Venezuelans, all of them running to Peru. This has everything to do with the U.S. Catholic Bishops Coalition, everything to do with what they're afraid of, which is a RICO investigation against them for the migration invasion into the United States, for the money laundering, for the human and child trafficking en masse, over 500,000 of them that we know of in the United States, They've only been able to find 5,000 children so far. Okay, so sign the petition below. So Prevost, he's a dark horse. He was kept hidden purposely because behind the scenes, what he's been doing has been installing all of these bishops that are ultra liberal and in all over the world. Okay, and it's so interesting how they eat their own. Whereas, it was all that, 2 years ago, it was all World Economic Forum. We must have multiculturalism, DEI, all of it. You would have thought, oh, they're going to bring in an African pope, a Thai pope. But no, they bring in an American pope. And I think it's very interesting, and we're going to touch into Trump and Vance on this in a moment, that they go ahead and do this when, of course, they're dealing with, as I've been talking about in my videos for a while now, McElroy, who Prevost was key in bringing McElroy into D.C. to make him Archbishop of D.C. So Prevost brings McElroy into D.C. He is the one who took out Strickland, okay, and he brings in McElroy into D.C. And McElroy, of course, was the bishop out of San Diego in charge of shuttering the diocese there, going into bankruptcy rather than pay out to all of the massive amounts of sexual abuse done in the Catholic Church in San Diego. And this is the most liberal church, the most leftist church, okay? But a super hub of trafficking, everything to do with Catholic charities, all of it. And McElroy is now the Archbishop in DC. And this all has to do with the fight. What could be a RICO investigation, and this is where Harmeet Dillon comes in, so huge, in the Civil Rights Division in the DOJ, where she goes in for conspiracy against rights. And this is where Trump has created the Commission on Persecution Against Christians. Okay, the Commission on Persecution of Christian Persecution, which is so huge. Okay, because this gets into what's going on here, and what we have with Prevost as the first American Pope, and everyone's like, "Yay, an American Pope!" No, Trump is bringing his enemies closer. As we remember, Pope is last, right? P is last, and so what we get here is that with Prevost, he's very, very much the guy behind the scenes. Just like if you had, when we go from Trudeau to Carney in Canada, which we hear we're going to have some massive announcement by Trump in the next day, basically Friday, before he leaves on the Saudi Arabian trip, Qatar and UAE. Some huge announcement to do with Canada. We know we had the UK huge, massive deal today that was quite interesting and spectacular. If I have time to get into it, I will. If not, I will in the next video. But what we see with Prevost is that he is doing the work of what they already have, which is the deal with the CCP, okay, to do with the Vatican, paying the Vatican $2 billion per year to put in their own bishops, take away the crucifixes, and put in pictures of Xi instead, persecute the real bishops. We have Cardinal Zen, who should have really been the Pope. That would have been spectacular, but no, of course not. We are looking at the dark horse times. We're looking at the times of the church giving its last ditch effort here against Trump and against this war of God's war to take down the Luciferian cabal. And so what we see here with Prevost is that he is basically doing the same CCP deal here in the United States, but quieter and slower. But the Catholic laity isn't buying it because they're experiencing it. We've already gone through the persecution of the Latin Mass Catholics, right? And now what do we have? We have a bishop put in Detroit by Prevost, okay, Pope Leo the 14th. He put in a bishop in Detroit, Michigan, who has now already announced that he is shuttering something like 13 churches in Detroit. that do the Latin Mass, basically banning the Latin Mass. And this is Prevost's intention going forward as this friendly guy out of Peru, but he's really from the DNC machine, Barack Obama's Chicago, Illinois, the whole corrupt system there, where he has been groomed and then been a massive operator to put in um, every bogus cardinal and bishop for Francis in the last 10 years. And he was kept secret. He was kept on the back burner. This was a play from the left, right? Just total Jesuit style, just bring in this guy who nobody really knows. Oh, he's an American Pope. Trump will love it. But he'll also know that no, Trump's ahead of it, right? Trump's ahead of it. And what the situation here is, okay, did JD Vance go to the Vatican and say, hey, we want this American Pope, or did he go there to warn them that there's going to be U.S. control of the Vatican? Because the RICO, wake up and smell the RICO, is coming, okay, for the mass money laundering of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops to do with the Catholic charities and the mass child trafficking that has ensued. And so the people, the laity are calling for it. And this is what I think Trump is doing. Have an American Pope who cannot deny, okay, their ability to connect with you at any time. Keep them closer, keep your enemies closer. And we are going to basically go ahead with this RICO and seize the assets of the Vatican, because the Vatican is on the verge of bankruptcy because they have been laundering tons of money to themselves and bankrupting, the Vatican, which is what, of course, Archbishop Vigano has been saying forever. And if you read or if you saw, read Steve Bannon's interview with Archbishop Vigano last week, so incredible, where he calls on the people to basically overthrow the deep church. And this is where we're at. We're at this point where there could be a schism, because what's so interesting now is it's no longer, oh, wait and see what some higher authority or some deep state media outlet tells you to do. People know, because of all of the citizen journalists out there and all of the people reporting, that we already know everything that's going on, and we don't need somebody else to tell us. But what's great is that we do it ourselves, and we come to find out everything that is happening, and then we report it to each other. And so the deep dives are super easy to do. It's not that hard. You just look into stuff and then you come up with the information. And that's what we're going to do here. So let's dig into some more of it. Again, some intense light. Let me see if I can move over. Okay. All right. So let's get into some of what Prevost has been up to. All right. We already know that Prevost has been, shall we say, involved in some sexual scandals in Peru. Okay, and Peru has been the number one receiver of the Venezuelans that have been fleeing, okay, from Maduro's regime. Not necessarily so much fleeing as getting sent there. Okay, this is the creation of Tren de Aragua. This is the movement of them into the United States. A lot of this went through Peru. And this is where we see Prevost's comments on social media going against Vance, going against Trump, to do with Bukele, to do with the deportations, all of it. But we did have, I'm getting too much glare there on the glasses, so I'll see if I can do it without the glasses. But when he was for decades the bishop of Chiclayo, Peru, and it just came out. This happened, just a few months after he got into being a cardinal, where there was a sex abuse of at least 3 girls in his diocese. Their ages were 8, 9, 13, who being abused by a priest in his diocese, Vasquez. And this is where he was basically accused of covering up the rapes of these girls. And this is part of it. Okay, this has come out recently. And of course it's true, whatever, for entertainment purposes only on this channel. The awful experiences of these girls is massive and huge. But when you see the larger thing of what's been going on in Peru for the last 2 decades, it has been a radicalization, a communization. The CCP has hugely moved into Peru, hugely creating ports in Peru, and basically trying to take over the country of Peru. And what I was trying to say earlier with the CCP model of the $2 billion a year paid to the Vatican so that they can install their own bishops, persecute any real bishops, disappear people, just drive everybody underground who wants to have a real Christian church. That's exactly what Prevost is. That's his MO. And basically the same thing here in the United States. Like I said earlier, putting in bishops that want to shut down Latin Mass, closing down churches in Michigan, in Detroit. And that what is the CCP big deal with the Vatican, $2 billion per year, is what they hope to accomplish here in a cultural revolution style, open woke, Paulo Freire, liberation theology style Catholicism here in the United States to basically keep going with this theme that people who practice Latin Mass are extremists, they're nationalist Christians, they're dangerous, and all of this. It's kind of funny that they think they could keep pushing that now with Trump in, unless they plan to do something to Trump. I mean, that's just simple. It's just simple to understand or think about that. Unless they think that they can do something to Trump, they will never, of course, push this through. There has been now the commission on Christian persecution created in the White House, and this has to do with Hermit Dillon there in the DOJ. And this is to basically go after the Catholic bishops, conference, as being a conspiracy against rights on their own people, on Catholics. And this is what they plan to do. And when we look at people like Ed Martin, who we tried to get Ed Martin in, but Tom Tillis basically blocked that with the other Rhino not Christian, the Rhino women, okay? The rhinos who need to get primaried out. But Tom Tillis out of North Carolina blocking Ed Martin, who would have been really a great part of prosecuting these kind of crimes in DC. Well, Tom Tillis was involved in whatever was the Fedsurrection. Okay, and it coming out of North Carolina, we know that it all was staged there. The Fedsurrection of January 6th came out of North Carolina. And Tom Tillis is trying to cover up something there. His involvement with the January 6th Commission, his involvement with Fort Bragg, with the setting up of the Oath Keepers there, the staging ground of weaponry and things that were set up by the feds against the Oath Keepers, all of this against Ed Martin, who really was the one exploring this and investigating all of it, as well as investigating Adam Schiff. And Adam Schiff, of course, as part of the January 6th Commission and all of his lies in Crossfire Hurricane, the impeachments, etc., had tried to block Ed Martin hugely. And it's where we show that the rhinos are the same as the Democratic deep state, they're the same cabal. And, like Leo said in my last video, they are the fifth vow Jesuits. And so whether the fifth vow Jesuits, the AIPAC, Zionists, they're all the same. They have the same goals. And we're seeing Trump going against all of them, keeping the Pope closer. I believe it's a great move. And I don't know if J.D. Vance was part of making that happen, Trump, when he went there and made it happen at the Vatican, or what, but I think it's a great move because I believe that soon we're going to see some seizing of Vatican assets to do with the migration, human trafficking, largest operation in modern history, that could be taken down by President Trump. And that it would be fantastic to seize the Vatican assets, considering everything they've stolen from the people and everything, all the people that they've killed, all the children that they've killed in the last 5 years. Okay, just to start with, we can go back to Kathy O'Brien talking about her experiences with Cardinal Law out of Boston way back in the day. His involvement with MK Ultra, mind control programming. When we get deep into the Jesuits, we get deep into the deepest of the evil of satanic ritual abuse and what these people have been doing. So with Prevost, we have this dark horse who intends um, to try to defend the Vatican against what is the Trump incredible, machine. And God has Trump. Okay, I don't think God has Prevost. I believe that Leo the 14th is made in the image of the hybrid lion animal, okay, of the beast, and that he has done this reversal of claiming the name of Leo to try to fake and fool the people, that he is some kind of reformist, he's some kind of, for the people, when he's actually just a devil in an angel's clothing. And that he's here to defend what he created for Francis, which is putting in the most liberal bishops, excommunicating the most devout Catholics. And that has been his mission. And he is very good at it. He's very good at it. He was able to get McElroy selected and installed and appointed as the Archbishop of DC. And so we have big foes, but we also have incredible. Let me see if I can get this light. Ugh, the light. The light is intense. It's just been a weird light day here. Anyway, I'm going to finish up here, but basically, what we're looking at with Prevost is that he is Francis on steroids, okay, but I think a deeper Jesuit even than Francis. Francis was a Jesuit plus a Freemason, and he, of course, groomed Prevost. However, the people that are in control of Prevost to put in all of the most liberal and leftist uh, bishops and cardinals, that was laid on him, and he did it to perfection. And then he gets the reward, which is being the new pope, and to go up against Trump. And even though the Jesuits think they're so strong, I think they're learning that Trump might be stronger. Trump, who defied them at Fordham, the Fordham Club, said, "No, I don't want to be part of your club. No, I don't want to be part of the Jesuits." Trump is bringing his enemies closer. And I believe he was able to do that with bringing in this Pope. I believe he had a hand in it. And that, you know, we're going to see some big change-ups. What's going on with Vatican money, what's going on with the freedom of Catholics and Christians in this country. And I think we're going to have the actual last say here. God, of course, has the last say. So I've got weird light. I'm trying to do this on the fly as I'm doing home care. But I wanted to touch in here about Prevost today because it's kind of like out of the frying pan into the fire with this guy. The quietest Jesuits are the most dangerous, and this guy. Just as we went from Trudeau to Carney, right? It's kind of that same thing with Francis to Leo. That we get this players who are better at what they do. However, they're up against their biggest adversaries, which is Trump and his team, and all of us who are awake, and that all we need is just some research, and you find out everything about everybody. It's not that hard these days, and they can't fool you with mainstream media. They can't fool you with cable shows. They can't fool you with their canons or their writings, because we're all living it day by day, and we're watching the persecution, and we're watching what it means to be liberated. So I'm so sorry for the lighting and the weirdness. I had to get this on the fly in between my timing today, but I wanted to at least put that out there. And I will hopefully get back with you tomorrow to talk about the news, because there is so much of it. But Prevost is the dark horse. He was brought in to protect the Vatican, but especially from Trump within the United States, to do with McElroy in D.C., to do with what is the United Conference, the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, and the money laundering, the massive billions into them that created the migration invasion with the UN Pact on Migration, which Prevost was hugely involved with. These are all the same people that created the trafficking, created the migration patterns, the connection with the CCP to build out those pathways for the migration invasion to happen, all of it. So this is the guy who's in, but he's up against his biggest foe, which is Donald J. Trump, and of course the American laity. So we're going to win. We know we will. I will see you tomorrow. If you found something that was helpful, even though the scrolliness of this video, and you want to support the channel, there's ways to do so below. Sorry for the strange lighting. It's just one of those days. But yeah, Prevost, in a way, it's kind of like a blessing in disguise. I feel like God has this, it's almost, it's interesting. The Jesuits were the first ones to publish Sun Tzu's Art of War in English, right? And it's almost like this is God's art of war, where basically God is like, um, it's a blessing in disguise, because it's kind of like you use your enemy against you. It's like a fulcrum or a forward force, basically, where I believe that Trump is going to be able to take this guy down and take the church down. I don't want to take him down. I'm just saying that the Catholics need to do a redo. And there's a schism coming. Archbishop Vigano, I'm sure, is going to call for a schism, as well as multiple others. That this Prevost guy, it's questionable whether he's even a Catholic or supports Catholic doctrine at all whatsoever. So I believe there will be huge fight back against Prevost, um, and yeah, bring it on, because the Leo the lion, fiery. Yeah, it's kind of like the gates of hell, and this guy's trying to stay um, in power, thinking that he is something that only the devil knows. So we're going to find out more about Prevost, and we're also going to see a huge fight from the Catholic laity. Check out the links below, some really good information about Prevost, as well as signing the petition for a RICO investigation into the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, etc. So check it out. You are free. Support the channel. I'll see you tomorrow.